Hey there. If you want to improve your American accent and pronunciation, but you don't have the money to invest in paid help, or you just don't want to invest the money into regular sessions with an accent reduction coach, this video is for you. In this video, I'll be sharing with you my plan and what I plan to do to improve my accent in the languages that I'm learning. And this can help you as an English learner because you can apply the same strategies. So this year, I am working on improving 2 of my foreign languages. One of them is at an intermediate level, and the other one is at an advanced level. So I'll be sharing my strategies for each. So tell me down below, do you feel that your English level is more at an intermediate level or at an advanced level? For the sake of this video, I'm going to say that being at an intermediate level means that you're not fluent. And fluent means a lot of different things to different people. So what I mean is that it's really choppy if you're not fluent. So instead of saying, I'm doing well, you're saying, I'm doing well, right? And you have to stop and think. So if you need to stop and think about how to say something, or if you don't feel confident, that's what I'm going to say is intermediate. So that's my Spanish level. Advanced. I'm going to categorize advanced as being fluent, which fluent means a lot of different things. I'll say that it means that you're almost perfect. Of course, you'll make mistakes, and that's normal as an English learner if you're learning English. And I'm going to say that's about a C level for those who know the A, B, and C categorization. At this level, I'm going to say that you are confident and have an advanced vocabulary. However, there's a negative to this. Because you've been speaking English for so long and you've reached a higher level, you probably will have bad habits, strong bad habits that are more difficult to break and change than if you are at a beginner or an intermediate level. So that's something that we are going to focus on. So that is something that might be a little bit more difficult for you at an advanced level. Then I'll have some bonus tips and things to consider. So feel free to skip to the part that you want to see. I'm going to start with the intermediate plan. And that is, I'm going to start off with this step here. And it is finding out sounds, or finding out the sounds if we want to be grammatically correct. So we want to find out the sounds that are difficult for you and people who speak the same native language as you when they speak English, because it's going to be different depending on your first language. If you speak Spanish as a first language, maybe the J sound, j, 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 and the Y sound, might be a sound that's difficult. Maybe it's the R sound, the American R, or the TH sound. So we want to find out what these sounds are so that you can work on them and create good pronunciation habits. Next, it's going to be to listen to native speakers. And I'm going to say with the accent that you want. If you are following me, it's probably the American accent. For me and my Spanish, I think I want to acquire more of a Mexican accent. So I'm going to listen to native speakers. If you're watching this video, you have internet, so you have so many resources. For me personally, I'm going to pick a YouTuber that speaks Spanish with a Mexican accent and try to listen to them when I can. Then I'm going to repeat after them once in a while. So as I listen to my person, I'm going to be listening. I might be listening for the specific sounds as well, or whatever I want to improve on, and then repeat after the native speaker. So these could be words that are difficult for me, or just sentences, or just to get the hang of connected speech and the rhythm of Spanish in my case, or American English if that's you. Then I am going to practice. And more specifically, this is going to be conversation practice. For me personally, I find it hard to have language partners and arrange a time. It takes a lot of energy. So I actually use an app where I chat with AI language partners. If you'd like to know which one it is, feel free to comment AI partner and I will share with you where to find this. With this app, I can either type what I want to say to my partner, or I can say it. So when I say it, it will transcribe and write what I say. And that will give me also an idea if my pronunciation is generally okay. If it's not, I'll know. And I actually can get feedback from this AI bot. Again, comment AI partner if you want to know more. So AI partner. So what does this look like on a practical level? If I want to be intense and learn quicker, I would say practice your spoken English and or listen and repeat at least 5 times a week or 5 days a week for 10 to 15 minutes per day. So if you can do it every day, that's awesome. If you can't, that's okay too. And for me, I'm actually going to do it the lazy way because I don't have time, but every once in a while I will practice. So my goal is to do that 1 to 3 times per week. So either practice with conversation and or listen to a YouTube video and repeat after the speaker once in a while. I know that's not a lot, but there's this quote that I found to be really powerful. And that is, we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. So even if I practice 1 time a week for 5 to 15 minutes, I'm going to be way ahead of myself in 10 years than I would be if I did not practice. So let that encourage you, because it's not always easy to spend time improving our foreign languages. Also, I talk a little bit about choosing the sounds to work on in my free accent reduction mini course. So if you would like to have access to that free mini course, feel free to type framework down in the comments and I'll share with you how to get that. So framework in the comments and I will share with you where to get my accent reduction framework mini course. Did I say it was free? It's free. Now let's talk about the plan if you have an advanced level in English and what I'm doing to improve my French. First thing, I want to identify difficult sounds. So I want to identify the sounds that are still difficult for me. I know which ones they are, but I never really had the courage and the motivation to sit down and practice them. So get a list of words and then practice them. So this is something that I don't really want to do, but I think it's time to finally do it. So if you have a sound or sounds that are difficult for you, tell me down in the comments, because I might even have a secret playlist that I have hidden on my channel that I can share with you. So tell me down below which sounds are difficult for you, even if you are at an intermediate level, because I've compiled a lot of videos and playlists that aren't public. Next, this is something that's going to change over time, but it is choose a feature of connected speech. You may or may not know this. I hope that you do if you've watched a lot of my videos, but words and sentences that we've learned in school do not always sound the same when spoken by a native English speaker. And there are little things that change and kind of transform into different sounds. So instead of saying things like, I want to do something, it turns into, I wanna do something. I wanna do. I wanna. Or instead of saying, did you eat? Did you eat? You'll hear, did you eat? Did ya eat? Or did you eat? Or instead of saying, I want you to call me, you'll hear, I want you. Want you. Instead of the teat sound and the y sound, the y, y, it turns into a ch sound. And then the to turns into to call. So my goal is to choose a feature of connected speech that I want to really listen for and to practice so that I can adopt more of a native-like pronunciation. And I know that the first feature that I want to work on and focus on and just like improve would be learning more about reductions. And if you would like to know about some of the most common reductions in English, feel free to type down the comments reduction cheat sheet and I'll share with you where to get my little document with the different reductions that you'll commonly hear in English. So if you find it difficult to understand native speakers, but when you were in an English classroom you understood, it might be because of this. So feel free to type a reduction cheat sheet in the comments and I'll share with you where to get that. Next, like I mentioned, I'm going to listen to native speakers just like at the intermediate level, but I'm going to really focus on the aspect that I'm working on. So if I'm listening for reductions, I'm going to, yes, learn about them, but I'm also going to be listening for them. And then, as always, like I always recommend, repeat after a native speaker so you'll shadow them, you'll mimic them. So I'm going to listen to native speakers. I'm going to repeat after them and shadow. And I probably won't listen to a lot of YouTube videos because I live in a French environment. So sometimes when I hear people that I know speak, I'll kind of repeat after them, whether it's kind of in my head or like whispering. Or if I'm driving and I'm listening to French radio, I will repeat after the radio host. So the last one, and that is exchange with a native speaker. So this is something that I want to try out. So if you know someone who wants to learn your language, especially if they want to improve their pronunciation, you can see if they'd be open to you sending them a voice message in English, especially if they have an American accent or the accent that you desire to have. And they can send you a voice message in their target language, which is yours, and you can give each other feedback. So they can tell you, oh, this sound makes you sound like you're not a native speaker, or I suggest that you work on this sound. Not everyone is trained in this, but it's better than just relying on your own intuition or feeling, because when you are learning a language, like when you're learning English, there are probably a lot of mistakes that you make that you don't realize that you make. And especially at an advanced level, like I mentioned, we have a lot of bad habits. And because we've been speaking with these bad habits for so long, whether it be like grammar mistakes, like obvious grammar mistakes, or pronunciation, it sounds normal and okay to us. So that's why having a native speaker come in and help, and of course you helping them, this can be really important. Of course, having a professional help you is a lot better in terms of results, but this video is about improving our accent and pronunciation with no paid help. So if we exchange value for value, this will help you get feedback from native English speakers or people who have the accent that you want. Now we have some bonus tips and things to consider. First one, I think it's important to decide on your goal or goals, right? So what are your goals? Maybe your goal is to just speak with confidence and to have a good enough pronunciation where people can understand you. I would say that's kind of my goals for Spanish. I want to speak with confidence. I want to have a big enough vocabulary where I feel like I can talk about things without constantly stopping to think. And I want to speak well enough where people can understand me. But I also want to sort of speak like a native speaker, but I don't want to put that much effort in. Whereas with my French, my goal eventually is to try to be able to speak in a way that other native speakers with my desired accent wouldn't know that English is my first language. So I would say that I would like to speak like a native. Will I be completely perfect? I don't know, but I want to be pretty close. The next question you should ask yourself is, how intense do you want your plan to be? Do you want it to be intense or more of a lazy, laid back plan? And this will depend on your motivation, how much time you have, how much energy you have. So this is going to be me for the next at least year or two, maybe even the next 5 years. But I'm kind of taking the lazy way, but also I want to be consistent. So over time, slowly but surely, there will be improvement. And honestly, with my app, my language partner app, I feel like I learn a lot faster than I would reading or studying. So I know that even though I'm lazy, I feel like I work smarter in order to improve my foreign languages. Next, something I want to mention, and that is you need to ask yourself or ask other people that are English speakers. Do you make a lot of mistakes? Like I've mentioned in my other video, native speakers don't speak perfectly. We make grammar mistakes, but it's different than the obvious grammar mistakes that a lot of English speakers make. And your goal might be to improve your pronunciation and your accent. However, if you make a lot of obvious English mistakes, it could be distracting, but it could also make it difficult for English speakers to really understand you. So I would encourage you to find ways to make less mistakes in English. So how can you do that? So if you want to make fewer mistakes in English, there is a free option, which would be to use ChatGPT. You can definitely check that out here. And there is a paid option, which is less expensive than hiring an English coach, and that is to use that AI partner app that I spoke about. If you'd like to learn more about that app, feel free to click right here. Or if you'd like to check out how to use ChatGPT, click here. Anyways, take care, good luck, and bye-bye.